Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped. Something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
It's funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
All right. Last time we talked, we were talking about a part, and you mentioned, or one of us had the idea of making a note to revisit it this time.
Yeah,
and I said I could do that. So if you'd like for me to do that and let you know what I recall, I could do that, or we can go anywhere you'd like.
That sounds good, because I've heard it's always important to keep promises to parts. So
yeah,
let's do that.
It was. There were. I don't know if there were a lot of parts, but there was. I don't know, kind of a lot happening in that conversation. And the exile that you were getting to know felt wounded, humiliated, felt like it was being cut. Images from preschool, and it said that it wanted to just continue being listened to. And we didn't, go through any unburdening stages beyond that.
Yes. Okay, I guess I'll see if I can check in with that one. I definitely get a sense that things have been better for it since we talked. Not completely better, but and it's funny, I haven't actively gone to it and worked with it much, at least not consciously. But I feel like there has maybe been a shift a slight shift in the way I relate to people and how personally I take the things they say.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it had come up around.
Yeah. I'm trying to See if I can hear from it directly. Okay, you know what I'm getting actually, and this is kind of a perfect, like, not seg because we're still talking about the same thing, but like, kind of what I've been struggling with today sort of dovetails with this because it feels almost like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't with some of these relationships between the parts, because there's like a, if people mean what they say to me, and if they are really wounding me this way and like trying to hurt me or not caring about me, etc., then that exile is sad, and feels cut, wounded. But if they're not, and if I can have like a more open-ended view of human nature and recognize that everybody's going through their own struggle and they care more than they let on, then I come to another part, which is experiencing grief about the ways in which I didn't see that people were trying to connect with me.
Okay.
And how I wish that had been different, particularly around my ex dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that is tough. Like literally today, I had a meeting with my professor about one of my final projects. I still have another one to finish, but I just like, I was burning myself out so hard trying to finish that project. I finished it. I submitted it. I had no idea like how to feel about it. I felt like it was rushed. And then I get on this meeting with my professor and he's like, "This is amazing. You did an incredible job." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy." Mm-hmm. But then I'm also like, it's this weird thing where everything connects to my ex's death. And I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know I could do things that I can do. I didn't have faith in myself. And maybe if I had more faith in myself back then, I would have been able to get in gear and keep helping him. And that's just right where my mind goes. Like, it's very natural. Like, I know it doesn't seem like those two things are very connected at all, but they are for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's connected to a lot of things for you.
Yeah. Like
makes
almost
sense
everything.
To me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to think about putting it in parts language. What are the parts that come up? You'd mentioned grief.
Yeah. So there's this sad part that is forever lamenting the loss that I experience sort of at my own hand, like not intentionally, but through not realizing what I was capable of, perhaps, or interpreting interpreting things wrong, or whatever. And then, of course, there's the protector that when somebody hurts my feelings, just wants to yell and be like, "Fuck off." And then, of course, underneath, like, the defensiveness is going to be that exile that we were working with last time. But yeah, so it's like the exile and that exile's protector or protectors kind of, mount that like fuck off defense. And then this other sort of subsystem over here is the guilt and the grief, and the two groups clash.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. How do they clash?
Because if I'm really defensive or angry towards someone, then I feel really bad about it later, because this part of me goes like, well, no one is a bad person. No one is evil. So by treating them like they're trying to be bad, you can only ever lose.
Right. And that gets back to the lamenting this.
Mm-hmm.
I've interpreted wrong, and now I'm grieving a loss.
Grieving the loss of connection, or the actual loss of life, or whatever it is. Or just afraid that I screwed up somehow.
Mm-hmm. So noticing those parts,
mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea about which of them you'd like to work with, get to know?
I'm drawn towards the grief side because it feels stronger right now, and it's also been popping up a lot in the last few days.
Okay.
I feel like I've been getting to know it better, trying to shut it out less, but it's difficult.
Yeah. Do you want to say more about the difficulty?
Mm-hmm. So whenever I have a sad thought, I have a meta thought about the thought that's like, it's like, oh, I feel bad. But then it's like, but should I feel bad? Do I have reason to feel bad? What if I do have reason to feel bad? What if I don't have reason to feel bad? What if I do have reason to feel bad, and that means that it's the end of the world? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's kind of evaluating the thoughts and then seeing if they're appropriate or...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like an important part to get to know.
Yeah. I that part is very prominent in my system. I realized lately, it is ever present, really. It's just weighing things, figuring things out. And I think it's responsible for a lot of my OCD-like symptoms, where I just can't stop going over stuff, analyzing it, finding every little flaw or imperfection. But I feel like it's relaxed a tiny bit lately when it comes to the grief, just a little bit.
Okay. Do you have a name for this part? Is this one that we've worked with before?
Might be Jerry again. Sounds like Jerry, doesn't it?
You tell me. What's Jerry sound like, and what's this part sound like?
Well, Jerry sounds like, oh my God, are you really doing IFS? What's self energy? Where is the self? Is your self energy pure, or are you still blended? What's going on? Like, you wanna believe in something? You wanna be comforted? You wanna think about like there being some kind of afterlife? Well, there probably isn't. So, don't get your freaking hopes up. And yeah. And then like, yeah, this part that I definitely encountered it yesterday, and it was saying like, well, what if you did everything you could What if you don't realize how much you did and how much credit you deserve? And what if you were enough when it comes to your ex, whatever that means, like enough objectively, even though he didn't live. But then again, what if you aren't? And all that stuff. So.
Yeah. Sound like I'm hearing that damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't do enough, damned. If you did and don't realize it, that's different. Yeah.
Yeah, and this part wants me to have done enough, and it wants me to realize it if it is there to realize. But okay, so you know what I'm realizing right now is that it's Jerry arguing with another part. That's what it is. There's a part that wants to believe that I did enough, and it's making all these arguments for why I did enough and why I'm fine. And then there's Jerry going in and being like, but actually, maybe you didn't because of this, this, and this. And they're never going to resolve their argument. But then just below them is a sad exile that's just sad, and it's not getting any attention because these two are just fighting.
Yeah. Nice. Way to see it all.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe starting with the two that are fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Which of those feel like they need your attention?
I guess the one that wants to believe that I did enough and that everything is okay. It's just really desperate to believe that.
Right.
And it thinks like, and it does kind of believe that, or at least it's like skeptical. It's skeptical of the skeptic. Like it's skeptical of Jerry. It says like, well, all your friends think you did enough. Your therapist thinks you did enough. Like, you tried so hard. How do you know that this isn't just you being like kind of insane and OCD like you always are about doing the things that are important to you, and if one of them doesn't pan out, then this is how you feel. You blame yourself, but what if that's not a reflection of reality?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the case that it has to make to Jerry.
Yes.
Typically.
And Jerry will always tear that case apart.
Yeah. And like you said a moment ago, you think that there might not be an answer, a logical answer that's going to satisfy either of them.
Right. Yeah, because I think it's deeper than that. I think it is about reaching the exile. Like I feel like they can't settle their debate until I see some kind of unburdened version of the events.
All right. So how are you feeling towards this part that wants to believe you did enough?
I feel I admire it in a certain sense, like because it's really making a valiant effort to like save the system. And it is advocating for like my worth and my goodness as a person. So like I definitely, even just saying that, like I feel a lot of sentimentality towards that. I like that. Because not a lot of parts do that job.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at the same time, I worry that it's wrong.
Yes. Is that Jerry worrying it's wrong? / the exile?
It probably is Jerry worrying it's wrong. Yeah. It's like, don't get your hopes up.
Okay. Yeah. So I propose that we try to talk to both of these protectors that are in this dynamic.
Okay.
And
that's good.
Okay. And so to do that, I would ask Jerry, don't get your hopes up. I would ask him for space. And just to see if he would be all right stepping back so that you can get to know this other one.
Yeah. He's just like, don't get your hopes up. I'll step back, but don't get your hopes up.
Okay. And, we could also let him know that we can work with him next, and he can tell us all about the importance of not getting your hopes up.
He's like, yeah, sure, but I don't want to get my hopes up about
Okay.
about any of this resolving anything.
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll find out.
We will find out.
Okay. So the one who wants to believe you did enough.
Yeah.
You were recognizing its valiant effort.
Yeah. It's funny because I've never felt this way toward it before. Like, I've never noticed how hard it's trying to be a positive force in my life. It's advocating for me. I feel like an immense amount of appreciation for that.
Great. Show it all that.
Yeah.
You were saying how you had never felt this way towards it. How's its experience about being recognized by you?
It seems to have never even looked at itself in this way before. Like, yeah. Like I actually have tears streaming down my face from
Yeah, you want to just stay with that?
Sure. Yeah, it's really used to being villainized.
Yeah. Being villainized for giving false hopes. That's what.
Yeah. Always being seen as being wrong and being like self-interested. Or like I'm this idea that I'm just trying to excuse myself. Yeah. But it's really trying to believe in me.
I got another question.
Sure.
When you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's it afraid would happen if it didn't work so hard?
Then the default decision would just be that I'm an awful person or not good enough. And if I'm not good enough, or I suck, or I made like a irreversible mistake, then it's like I'm the cause of my own suffering. It's like if there was something that I could have done that I didn't do, then it's really hard to explain the feeling. It feels like it should be easy to explain.
Yeah, and you don't have to explain it to me. So
Yeah.
if you're getting it,
yeah,
then just showing it that you get it.
true.
And that feeling of not being good enough, that's what the exile is carrying, right?
That's a good question. There's got to be an exile that's Is it an exile or is it undeserver? What I feel like it might be like undeserver who's kind of an exiled protector saying I'm not good enough, and then below him would be an exile that's just fucking sad and feels alone, like feels a sense of loss. I'm not totally sure about that, but that's what I'm figuring at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. And you can try to map some of this out with this part that works so hard.
Yeah.
Asking it if your hunches are accurate or if there's more it wants to show you about those other parts.
There's an idea that having to actually suffer the loss of the thing would be the worst thing in the world. Like having to admit that it happened, which is like crazy on the face of it because it obviously happened. But it also cannot have happened,
Right. That's coming from this part that says it couldn't have happened because it's so invested in this fight that it does for you being a good person and advocating for you in that way.
Where is that feeling coming from? Yeah, I guess it is this part. This part, like, it's like, it can't have happened the way it looks. There must be some way that this isn't as bad as it looks somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the role that it's in.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And what would it rather be doing if it didn't have to? do that.
Definitely not this. I'd rather just be cheering me on, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
At something where it's not a foregone conclusion that it's wrong.
Yeah, kind of cheering you on and more present or future focused rather than
like it would like to have the ability to just have a clean slate and and just be like, yes, go forth and do what you're like, I know you can do, something like that.
Yeah.
I would rather be proud of me instead of like anxious about whether it's able to be proud.
Yeah. How are you feeling towards it now?
I just feel like it all makes sense, what it's saying.
Me too.
Yeah.
Could try asking it how old it thinks you are.
Okay. It thinks like there's something parental about it. So I assume it thinks I'm a child, but it sees me as kind of incapable of determining my own self-image and capable of evaluating myself.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So show it your real age.
Okay.
And maybe ask it how you're doing in this evaluation, in your evaluating of it as a part of you.
I'm getting a sense that it thinks I'm the exile. And when it kind of turns around and looks at like me, it's like, well, you're not the me that matters. You're not.
Yeah.
You're just you don't need help, but this exile is the real you and it needs help.
I totally agree. Yep. Self doesn't need help.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just let it know you're getting all that. And that you can be on the same team.
It's like, yeah, you're just an observer. Like you're just watching this, but you're not feeling it. But the exile is feeling it, and that's what matters. So it kind of thinks self is irrelevant.
Right. And that would make sense if self has not been with that exile, felt it, unburdened it.
Yeah.
And so I would ask again how it assesses your ability to feel it with it.
How it assesses. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. So I'm not arguing that that the exile is still in that state. Maybe self hasn't gone there. But I'm asking for this part to see the way that you are able to be with it.
Okay.
And the way that you're able to witness it.
It doesn't think that it being witnessed is all that important.
Mm-hmm.
It's just pointing to the exile.
Yeah, it really cares about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I was asking that was really to see if it trusted you to be that person who goes and helps out the exile so that it doesn't have to work so hard.
It sees me as detached.
Mm-hmm.
It sees me as for lack of a better way to put it, it sees me as having nothing real to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's been kind of in this role alone and not known that attachment.
Yeah. It sees me as uninvested, and I also have a fear that it's right, which I guess that's maybe another part, or maybe it's like the same part, but yeah.
It's been really invested and it hasn't had a lot of help from self.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And like you had just said a moment ago, you never felt this way towards this part before.
It's true. That's true.
So the degree to which you are invested and the degree to which you are emotionally attached or available is something that you can change and you can provide.
I suppose it is. But someone in there is definitely doubting that.
Yeah. Again, that makes total sense to me. I think that's usually the way it is. They have every reason to doubt. They have every reason to doubt that.
They do.
You could ask it what it needs from you going forward in order to help it notice your investment and your
See, it needs me to feel something, and it's strange, I was feeling something. I was obviously feeling something a few minutes ago.
Yes.
But there's something now that it seems like I'm not feeling that it needs me to feel. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's some kind of maybe it might need me to feel sad. But I don't, at least not in an obvious way.
I wonder if it's if it's again kind of pointing to the exile and saying, look, the exile is sad.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, its sadness is what needs to be witnessed.
Yeah, it says how can you be this caring person when you're not witnessing the exile? That's exactly what it is.
Great. Is there anything else that this part would like from you in its relationship with you?
I don't think so. I think it got what it needed. Okay. It's maybe it just wants me to keep Jerry in check a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and we agreed we could try to do that, or at least learn more about him. Does this part have a name or some way that it would like for you to?
I can't think of a name off the top of my head.
Okay, you can ask it if it has any way that it would like to be put into your scrapbook.
Okay, let's see. Closest thing I got was it's the one who tries.
Yeah. Okay.
Might think of a better name later, but
sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank it for showing you all that.
Yeah. Yeah. It did show me a lot.
Do you want to stay with it, learn more about it? Would you like, or would you like to shift, go see how Jerry's doing?
Shifting sounds good. It seems like it wants me to shift. So
Great. Okay. So
Jerry. Jerry is. He's not unimpressed by the events that just transpired. But he thinks there's like a limit to how much you can to how much you can change immutable facts which are bad.
How are you feeling towards him?
A little bit afraid of him being right.
Mm-hmm. How are you feeling towards him as an entity?
Him as an entity?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's another thread there, I guess, which is like he's a good guy. That's really the whole thing. It's just like he's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's got a reason to be there.
Yeah.
He might tear down arguments, but he's not trying to tear you down.
Yeah, he's like just the archetypal worrywart, cantankerous worrywart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He is fighting for me to have a grip on reality and not get blindsided by what happens to me.
Does that make sense to you?
It does.
And can you let him know that, and let him know that you think he's a great guy?
Yeah. Yeah. He is. Yeah. He's giving me some sort of positive vibe back for sure. It's a very different vibe than the other part,
Mm-hmm.
but a very good one.
Is there more he wants to say about not getting blindsided, or what that means, what that would look like, what he's wanting to protect you from?
Yeah. He is helping me not get attached to like false hope. Like the only thing worse than my hopes not being real would be to believe that they're real for my entire life and then have them not be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are there threads there that he can show you, or that you see, between what he's talking about and this same exile from a moment ago?
Yeah, well, yeah, he is trying to help me find the truth so that I can know it and work with it as fast as possible so that I don't live my life under some delusion.
Right.
And waste time.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sounds to me like if he didn't do that, then it would be like the one who tries, that is just saying positive things, and he's saying, well, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
And if you go and help that exile out with, nice words, then that's not truthful.
Yeah.
And
like, are they
that would be even worse than just letting it be just letting it be bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Show him some appreciation for that.
Yeah. It's definitely important.
Yeah, and it shows just how important his job has been, because he's not just OCD. He's not just likes to analyze. He's got a reason for it all.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely trying to. Basically, if I don't know what's real, then I have zero chance of of squaring up with reality, accepting it, learning to live with it. And so I have zero chance to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he's trying to give me a chance to be happy, just like the other one is.
Mm-hmm. And how old does he think that you are?
Mm. Mm. It feels hard to say. But maybe somewhere around, I'm kind of suspecting, like I have at other times, that he is undeserver.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did get a memory of like losing my religious faith when I was younger, realizing that stuff isn't true just because I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Pessimism, sort of, but feels like realism.
Pessimism, realism,
Yeah. I don't know if he's the same part though. I'm not sure yet, but there's.
Does he also have kind of a
similarities.
parental vibe?
No, he doesn't. I guess it does feel a little more like a teenager.
Mm-hmm. And how does he, well, you could update him with your age.
Mm. Yeah, his reaction is kind of a, damn, you're that old and you're still figuring this shit out.
Yeah.
He's unsettled about it.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that he's referring to, the figuring out, that's more of the stuff that he's concerned about, right? The truth versus the believing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know the truth and have everybody accept it, I guess.
Yep. Fall in line with that.
Yeah, because he feels like that's the only way that we'll ever know. It's like that we'll ever know if life is worth living, basically. It's like, let's rip off the Band-Aid and figure out what actually happened here so that we can either move forward or realize that I'm completely irredeemable somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he'd like to see that mathematical proof for that.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah. How do you feel towards him as you see him struggling with that?
Well, he's standing for a really, big form of integrity. But it also makes me understand the other parts that are afraid of him, because it's like, of course, I'm going to have parts that try to obscure the truth if there's like a 50% chance that the truth means my annihilation somehow.
Right.
So that kind of puts it into perspective of why it's so hard to figure this out once and for all. But anyway, Jerry is... Yeah, he's...
He wants to figure it out once and for all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or he's pretty sure he does.
Mm-hmm. And do you have a response to that from self?
Yeah, I kind of have like a reaction of like, yes, you should be able to figure that out. That is important.
Yeah, it is important.
Yeah, I can, like, I just feel like I can see why you feel like we can't move on from this until we figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's so many things in life that have a hard answer, and
Yeah.
it's better to get the right one than the wrong one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Too much.
So I think he's doing a very valuable service. And yet, like you said, he's fighting for something that matters.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I certainly experience pain and strife because of him, but I also have a sense that I would not want to be without him.
Awesome. Is he getting that sense from you?
I think so. Let's see.
Don't be stingy.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, now he is.
Great. What's he think about the idea of you going to that exile that we had talked about before? To help it out with its sadness, to witness its sadness.
He thinks it might be... He thinks it might not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is the truth. And if you make the exile feel better, you make the exile feel worse, that doesn't change the overall situation. It doesn't unkill my ex.
He's right.
Yeah. He is.
So we're not going to offer to do that. And I'm also not going to bullshit him and say that I have the answer. You know, I have that equation that makes it all add up.
See, I think he's really hoping that someone does.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is just a scared kid at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's almost saying all this stuff as a thing to get a reaction. Like, the truth is the truth. Prove me wrong. Go ahead. Come on, prove me wrong. Mm-hmm. Guys, is someone gonna prove me wrong, please?
Yeah. Yeah. And are you able to just acknowledge that scared kid?
Yeah, and that also, for the first time, I feel how that connects directly to the exile.
Mm-hmm. And how does he like that?
There's this sense of just emotional depth that opened up.
It's a different dimension.
Yeah. I guess it just feels very like, oh, yeah, that's why this has all been happening. He's trying to protect the exile the same way as the other one is.
Yep. And just as valiantly.
Yep.
I imagine he's felt just similar, not supported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's been treated as like a difficult part, like kind of, people don't even know what to do with him. Like they don't know how to relate to what he's ever saying.
Because they relate to the one who tries. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
They're all agreeing with that one and saying, you tried. What?
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But you relate to him. I relate to him.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just bullshitting and saying, yeah, no, you're great.
It's kind of been really perplexing and isolating when I'm the only one that defends him or even understands where he's coming from.
Yeah, it's tough being Jerry.
It is. I'm yet more confident now that Jerry and Undeserver are the same part. Which is interesting because they when I've had mental images of them, they have looked like the same person in the past.
Uh-huh.
Although there was also one moment in the past where Undeserver was saying he hated Jerry, so I don't know, but there's definitely a connection between these two.
Parts have parts, and it's not unheard of for a part to say, I hate myself.
Yeah, it really might be like two different parts inside Jerry. One that's going, I don't know anything, and the other that's going, obviously we're bad and irredeemable.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends which comes out. Parts.
Is there any more that he wants to ask of you? Especially, well, for himself, but also in the idea of you helping out with that exile?
Mm.
What does he need from you?
Needs to he needs his concern to be taken seriously and actually figured out at some point. He's like, he says, like, I can't wait forever. I've been waiting. I've been like, the whole system has like been on hold with this issue for so long. And it's like, if there's a feeling that everyone has that we're not really living until this is figured out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you respond to that?
I feel like that is right, that we do need to figure it out. And that maybe we can somehow.
And do you have a clear understanding of what it is we're trying to figure out?
Well, the question on its face is like, did I fuck up irredeemably? Is my life ruined? Or not? And
okay,
I feel like we are going to figure it out, just in a different way than maybe.
Kind of how I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of picturing going to like a physical therapist, and it's like, hey, my hand is broken. Is it gonna be unbroken? And the physical therapist saying like, well, like, it's a process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How's he feel about that response from you?
He says, he's like, as long as you actually figure it out and don't do some like quasi-spiritual bullshit. And
okay.
he's like, no, he doesn't want me to do a spiritual bypass on this.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yep.
And I got my inner Jerry looking out for that too.
Yep.
That would really suck.
Everybody needs a Jerry.
It's like you were saying before about how easy it is for people to side with that other side.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, wouldn't people love that, right? If we could do it that way.
Yes, they would.
Yeah.
They sure would. If they could just explain to me for the 10th time how hard I tried, and then my concerns would just go out the window. Yeah.
Okay. So he wants us to figure out if basically if you fucked up irredeemably.
Yeah.
Which maybe, I don't know, can we shortcut that to just, are you redeemable?
Yeah.
Is this part in you?
Is my life redeemable? Yeah. Like, can I ever be at peace again? Yeah.
Okay. Any more he wants to share with you or that you want to ask of him?
He's just... He goes back and forth between seeming comforted and seeming unsettled, which makes sense to me, because every time he hopes for something, he has an equal and opposite reaction to that hope.
Yeah, well, that's his job. He's been he's the stop hoping so much part.
Exactly.
So for him to be hopeful is contradictory.
Yeah, whenever he feels good, he feels bad
I get that.
Compensation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he's just like don't wimp out on me. This kind of thing better continue, or I'm revolting.
Yeah. And again, do you have a clear idea of what this kind of thing continuing means and looks like?
Listening to him, being invested in this issue. That's basically it, yeah.
How, if I may, can I ask how he feels about my my, what's the word? Tendency towards like quasi-spiritual bullshit and my proclivity, I think was the word I was looking for, and my investment in this issue, in this exile.
Well, he does feel like you, like we've noticed before in like a previous time, there have been times when it seems like you want it all to be okay. At the same time, though, you're doing that less than anybody else I've talked to.
All right.
So he's like, as long as you keep going the way you're going. Yeah.
Okay.
He's just like, keep it up. I'm watching you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm counting on him to be watching me.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to ask of this part or the other part?
I just hope I don't lose sight of the things that I did today. Like, I hope the feeling,
things that you saw today.
Sticks. Yeah. Yeah, I just hope it sticks. Like, it's a good direction to be going in, and
I think so too.
I hope it stays that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to do, commit to help,
I think I just want to commit to looking forward to our next session.
Okay.
I think, and I'm gonna like try and listen to these parts when they inevitably pop up in my day-to-day life. But I think putting any kind of specific pressure on myself to work on it has been a little bit counterproductive in that, like, the parts start having a part fight sometimes.
Yeah. You're not working on it the right way, or
so if I can't conceptualize it as working on it. I have to conceptualize it as just listening when things pop up.
Right.
Letting them talk. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy to, again, keep the notes. I can share notes with you. I can, make sure that we at least start by reviewing some of this in our next conversation.
Sounds great.
And I will also offer you don't have to answer now. If you'd like to move our next date to sooner, we can do that too.
What do we have? So it's going to be
And I don't know. I don't have my calendar in front of me either. So I'm just throwing that out there as a, if it feels like.
Yeah. So our next one on my calendar is the 21st. And I will be out of town all next week. So, and like, I am good from the 16th on to do anything. So if you have something between the 16th and the 21st, I'm happy to reschedule. But if you want to keep it the way it is, that's totally fine as well. I'm just looking forward to it.
Me too. I'll get back to you on that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all your help.
Awesome.
All right.
Have a good rest of your night.
You too.
Bye. Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.